Let's take a look at Star Wars The Force Unleashed running at 21:9 2560x1080p. Of course running at 60 FPS in this video. On my monitor though it is running at 75 FPS. With that said, in order to get this game running at this aspect ratio, you first have to download and install the game and run it initially, and then modify the ini file and set the resolution to whatever it is that you actually want to run it at. For me it's 2560x1080, but it could also be 3440x1440. That would also be a perfect 21:9 aspect ratio, and it would work with that as well. Now that would work without question in this game. It does run flawlessly in-game at 21:9. Now the cutscenes were designed for 16:9, but they do stretch to fit the 21:9 aspect ratio with no cropping. So you do still get to see all of the video itself with no loss. However, the characters are stretched in some of the cutscenes. One of the issues though you will encounter with this game is the game has a frame cap lock at 30 FPS. Now there are fixes available online that you can download, and of course that's what I've done. As you can see, it's running at a higher frame rate than 30 FPS here. There are two versions that come with the download. There is the 60 FPS version, and then there is the unlimited frame rate FPS version. Basically, the 60 FPS version works pretty well, but it does contain a bug that when you force lift certain objects, when you use the force on some objects, they tend to start flying out of nowhere. Now, you didn't just see it, but it does happen with certain objects and certain enemies, so I do feel the need to warn you about this in advance. And on top of that, if you're playing with the unlimited frame rate version, such as myself, the game does support up to, you know, if you're running on 144 Hz or 200 Hz or 240 Hz monitor, then it's definitely something you might want to consider, because it makes a smooth like butter experience like you wouldn't believe. And on top of that, with a cinematic aspect ratio and Star Wars, it's just a sight to behold. As you can see, the game is fucking stunning. So aside from those bugs that can be caused, you don't necessarily have to run the game at high frame rate to enjoy 21:9. Should you want the true cinematic feel of 30 FPS and 21:9, there is by no means anything stopping you from accomplishing this. All you have to do is modify the ini file. Now with that said, as you can see, the game does feature some draw distance issues and some pop-in, but it's nothing severe, and it's just due to the fact of when the game came out and the lack of customization options that were applied to it. Certainly other games at the time that came out offer you more options in terms of draw distance and pop-in and stuff like that. But this game is originally intended for consoles, so you're likely not going to see a fix for that anytime soon, and given it's so many years after its release, I highly doubt you're going to see a fix for that. But it's really not that bad, and it certainly shouldn't be something that prevents you from enjoying the game. If it is something that really happens to bother you specifically, then, you know, it's something to consider and to be forewarned about. However, for me personally, it doesn't bug me, and I feel as though the game itself runs and looks pretty good. It hasn't necessarily aged beautifully like some games have. It's definitely not the fine wine of Star Wars games that we were hoping it would be, especially at this point in time. But overall, I could definitely recommend the game, and I really would do so. Now with that said, I really hope you enjoy watching the rest of the introduction to this game. I'm going to stop talking. If you enjoyed this video, give the video a like. I'd certainly appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, suggestions, requests, hit me up in the comments section below, and I'll do my best to answer any and all questions and or oblige any and all requests as quickly as possible. And last but not least, if you'd like to be greeted by any of our future quality content by notification, please subscribe to us at the Pretend Pros. I know I'd certainly appreciate it, and I speak for my colleagues that we'd all appreciate. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of this video.
Whatever you want, you won't find it here!
You cannot disguise yourself from me, Jedi.
Turn back!
Sense someone far more powerful nearby. Where is your master?
The dark side has clouded your mind. You killed my master years ago.
Then now you will share his fate. A son.
Run! Lord Vader.
Come with me. More will be here soon. You were weak when I found you. Now your hatred has become your strength.